Hey, what's up? This is Brody here. Let's see, I got an email from you a while ago. You were asking about how to use color wheels and versus curves, and when to use it and everything, all that. It's honestly, you know what? It's really preference when it comes down to it. I'll kind of like give you an example of how I personally use it, and it's not. I wouldn't consider that. Don't take everything that I say as gospel. It's preference. Everybody's going to have their own reasoning for why they use it, when they use it in their workflow. This is just how I personally use it. And okay, so for example, the first thing that you always want to do, obviously, is you want to do a white balance and exposure. So assuming that you go through like the same type of workflow that pretty much everybody else does, like, okay, so let me just break it down really quick. First thing you do is white balance and exposure, and then you create a stylized look. And that's just, let's say, if we're just coloring like maybe one clip, for example, or two clips for our little like, demonstration and everything. So, all right, so first thing, what I would personally do, I would use the color wheels for the white balance, and I'd use the curves for exposure. That's personally what I do all the time. But you have different options. You don't have to do that. So let me just demonstrate for you. Like the first thing that you want to do, obviously, is bring in Color Finale, or if you're in DaVinci, it doesn't really matter. It's the same exact workflow. All right, so what were we talking about? We're talking about white balance and everything. So let's get our scopes up, see where we're at with white balance. So, okay, you could use either or, because, let's see, you could clearly tell that the red channel is a little bit higher, not by much. So you could technically take this down and move these guys. Some people do it. It's not right or wrong. It's totally preference. That's one way of doing it. Let me get rid of that. And then you could also do up, down, left, right movements with the color wheels. So it's really whichever one tickles your fancy and makes you feel better about everything. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Alright, so up, down, left, right movements. I'm in the highlights only. And let's see. There you go. It's balanced enough. And so, as you clearly saw, I used both color wheels and curves to to get a white balance. So that's step one. And so let's see, for Color Finale, this is what you would do. Obviously the saturation looks quite off. Let me get that up too. So obviously bring that up a little bit. Boom, you got your first step done. White balance. All right, cool, awesome. Let's do exposure. Let's do exposure with both tools again. I think that I'm gonna stick with that way of doing things. All right, so with exposure, let's do Luma, and all right, so I'm gonna delete these actually. Let me get rid of these because I want to. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna keep it because it looks good. I'm gonna get rid of this one. All right, so we have white balance done. Now we're exposing. Technically, it's already pretty well exposed. I like it. It looks cool. Looks good to me. Yep, looks good to me. But let's pretend that, just for demonstration purposes, that it wasn't properly exposed. Let me just throw things out of whack. Yeah. Hey, look at that. It's log. Yeah, let's add that to the trend. Okay, never mind. All right, so look at our exposure is completely off, right? Okay, cool. All right, so with the color wheels, this is all you do to expose. Bring it down. And like I said, it's totally preference. Although I will say this, color wheels, these sliders right here, I'm gonna consider them not as fine-tuned as curves. Curves I consider very fine-tuning. Like they're honestly my favorite tools when it comes to coloring, and most of the time whenever I'm doing fine-tuning, or if I want to kind of like have a more complex or more control look, especially whenever I'm doing a stylized look. So white balance, I don't really touch the curves. When it comes to exposure, now that's different. See, so like this looks cool and all. It's not bad. It's not awesome. It's kind of like if you want to do a really quick and dirty exposure, or if you just have like, oh, hey, I just want to bring this part down just slightly, this little area right there. So I would take the highlights and do something like that. And that's just because I just want a really quick and dirty adjustment. That's it. I don't need super fine tuning, just something quick. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to show you how to do this with curves. I'm going to pretty much do the same thing. Actually, I'm just going to throw it out of whack really quick and add another curves. Hey, we got log again. See that? Alright, cool. Let's see, where are you at? Okay, yeah, this is what I was going to do. Alright, so this is pretty much... okay, whenever I'm doing exposure, I don't personally use the color wheels because I don't like how generic. In my mind, it looks generic. I don't like it. Alright? So, the way for me, personally, to get past that generic look or feel when it comes to exposure and add that little sauce, that little touch, that my personal artistic edge that comes from me only, I'm going to use the curves because that's gonna be the most fine tuning and where I could put my spin on things and not have it just, I don't know, generic and robotic. Like anybody could move a slider, anybody could do it, but it's the power of choice that comes with and the power of the artistic, what I call it, the artistic edge or whatever, and where you get to kind of like put your own spin on things. I think you get it. Yeah, I pretty much started rambling on a little bit there. All right, so I'm going to give you a demonstration of what I consider my personal artistic style edge, whatever you want to call it. And okay, so I like to bring stuff down slightly around there, and maybe I'll bring it up just a slight bit. I don't always crush my blacks. I'm going to bring my highlights. I'm looking at this part of the area. Let's see. See, like this part is actually kind of reminds me of the color wheels where it's more... It's not fine tuning, clearly. I'm not fine tuning it yet. The part where you start fine tuning stuff is when you start choosing where to place your dots and everything, your little dots on the curve. And it's not going to be a huge difference compared to the color wheels, but to me it's those little subtle nuances. That's what creates, I don't know, a really good looking image, and it takes a lot. It takes practice. I've been doing this for a few years. So, I got a bit of practice when it comes to developing my little style and everything. Alright, so, let's see, where am I going to bring him? Yeah, not bad. Alright, cool. I'm going to actually increase the saturation just a little bit. Let me see where the saturation actually is. Where are you? Where are you? Vector scope. Vector scope. Okay. Okay. Bring it down a little bit. Got a Rec 709 look. I'm going to take down the saturation just a little bit. Oh, here, this is actually a really good example. Okay, in my mind, I see a little too much red, okay? Especially in the saturation. Alright, so this is actually part of your question, but okay, to fix that, what I would personally do is I would go into the vectors, and I would choose the red. It's already chosen. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of the... I want to get rid of some of the saturation, to be honest. That would feel good to me. So, hey, check it out. Exactly where I wanted it. Skin tones look good. Just ever so slightly got rid of some of that. See that? I think that looks better. Cool. Yeah, that looks good to me. Alright, so I think I'm going to end it there. Oh, hey, you know what? I take it back. I'm going to have you sit around for a little bit more. Okay, so... Okay, we've talked about stylized look, okay? I just added another curves. When it comes to Actually, let me do a color wheels too. Let me start with that one. I hate doing stylized looks when it comes to color wheels. I don't do it. It looks horrible. It looks bad. I never get a good result. It's because it's too broad of a brush stroke. Imagine like using, a wide. Imagine you're doing a painting. You're using a wide paintbrush. You can't get fine tuning with a really big paintbrush. You just can't. So what do you do when you want to do like nice crisp lines, like in a painting or whatever? You're gonna use a really nice small thin detail brush. That's what you're gonna do. So that's the difference between curves. Curves, gigantic paintbrush, or I mean, excuse me, color wheels, gigantic paintbrush. Curves, nice fine detail paintbrush for fine details. Cool. That should be a good way of looking at it. Alright, so let me give you a demonstration. I'm going to try to do like a teal and orange effect, and it's going to look like crap. I guarantee it. Alright, so I'm going to start heading the shadows to the blues. I already hate how it looks. Alright, and actually, you know, I'm going to go even further. I'm going to go further and really give you a good demonstration. Oh, people would be like, oh my god, it looks so good. You see the teals and the shadows? I think it looks like crap. It looks disgusting to me. Alright. Oh, hey. Okay, so, and then I'm pushing it back a little bit. This is one of the techniques. It's the pull-push technique with color wheels. This is like, in my opinion, what beginners do. Learn this. If you're a beginner, learn this. Once you master this, move on quickly. Because it gets boring very fast. Alright, so with the highlights, I'm going to probably bring them towards... Let's try the teals. Let's see what that looks like. It's not bad. It's not awesome, but... that's one way of doing it. Alright, and let's see. Let's see what the blues would do. Nah, that's not doing anything anyways. Alright, forget about that. Alright, so, in a nutshell, you can create a look. You can create a look, but... in my opinion, it's not going to look as good as curves. Alright, so let me give you an example of curves. Let's do it before and after. It's not bad. I don't think it looks that good, though. I think this part could be a lot better. A lot better. So, let me get rid of that. That's how you do it with color wheels. So let's get into the looks. Stylized look with curves. Alright, so where do we want to start? I'm gonna just make up a random look, and notice how the colors just blend so much better. So all I'm doing is kind of like bringing that down. I'm gonna let's see. I don't even know where I'm going with this, man. All right, kind of like how that looks. Let me You want to know a cool little trick? This is a cool little trick. I'm going to create curves for each channel. How do you feel about that? I think that's smart. Let's bring that up just a little bit. Alright, so we got a little bit of greens, blues in there. It already, in my mind, looks way better than it did before with the color wheels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a curve for each color channel so I can adjust the opacity. The opacity slider is your best friend, my friend. Alright, so now I'm going to do the green channel. Let's see what we could do. I don't even know where I am going with this. I have no clue. Alright. Move the opacity a little bit. And now we're going to do the blue. I don't want it too much blue in the channel. The darks and everything. So, alright. Quick and dirty. Quick and dirty. A little quicker. Go quicker, Brody. Quicker, Brody. Stop pressuring me, Brody. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. Alright, let's see where we're at with that. And, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Whoa. Alright, so, okay, in a nutshell, that's how you do it. That's, and thank you for braving that. Okay, so, I'm not going to do a side-by-side of, the whatchamacallit, the color wheels versus. You should remember it. If you notice, it's already way more pleasurable right here. He's got a little bit of green in his hat. I don't know. Maybe people would want that, think it's cool. I have no clue. It was just whatever I came up with. His skin tones look good. You could put a vignette on there too. You could adjust the exposure with either the color wheels, sliders, or I personally like to use, whenever I'm creating a vignette, I like to use the curves because it's just, it looks better. You're just going to have a better effect. Alright, so I think I'm going to end it there. Apologize for it being so long, and hopefully you ended up getting something out of this. Alright, take care.